One bullet of this monster will travel at over 3000 feet per second and demolish anyone it encounters and anything that happens to stand behind them. Amy knew that one bullet wasn't enough. For that reason, she had 100 .50 BMG rounds, convert into at least 100 potential lives taken away. She knew that this was her only chance to make the money back. She started thinking, what could she possibly come up with that would yield a result of $1 million payout? She did not have a lot of time to think, let alone come down from her hangover. So she started with a simple question. Who has the ability to pay $1 million? The answer was simple, rich people and the government. Unfortunately, the rich in Los Santos kept their wealth hidden well, considering how hostile the place is to begin with. So the only rich person she knew other than herself was Natasha Valentine. That meant Amy had to rob the government of Los Santos. What does the government of Los Santos care most about? The citizens? No. Countless experiences have shown Amy that the government couldn't care less about innocent casualties. She's taken hostages for bank robberies only to have police rush in guns blazing in complete disregard for their safety, at least from her perspective. She's been taken hostage herself, and while completely unarmed, with her hands raised, had officers shoot her from long range, winding up with a broken hip which took months to heal. No, the government doesn't care about pesky citizens, the government only cares about itself. That's it. Amy had to kidnap a government worker. But how would she do that? Government workers very rarely have any events happen, and she was constrained on time. She would need someone who's as good as improvising as herself, someone who's got nothing to lose and who's willing to take risks for nothing but the promise of a monetary reward. Someone she's worked with before, Dazzlin. The plan was set, the location was chosen, a hideout in the woods where Amy would have been able to provide support to Dazzlin had cops not gone along with the ransom. Amy got dressed in camo gear, hoping it would be harder to spot her in the wilderness, and even acquired an army helmet that would protect her against any weapons that might hit her head, though in reality, it was only tested to work against 9mm. Dazzlin and Amy were on their way to the airport to pick up a rental vehicle for Dazzlin, and for the Amy to hop into a helicopter to get to the high ground. She had a rifle in a mostly assembled state hidden in a guitar case in the back seat. That's where the unfortunate happened. The police pulled them over. Amy tried to be honest during the questioning, saying she was nervous and she had medication. She didn't want to seem suspicious, but the damn cops pushed it when they asked her to step out the vehicle. She knew the heist was off, and she saw herself as a homeless prostitute on the side of the street instead of a celebrity, a leader, an entrepreneur. Throughout her whole life, Amy was bullied. Everyone had told her she'd amount to nothing, just a speck, a pawn in a chess game that we call capitalism. And she was always in denial. But there it was, her only hope to save her company, her enterprise, her wealth, her reputation, her future, shattered for good by a good investigative work of sheriff's deputy. And she couldn't blame it on anyone but herself. Not today. Amy floored the gas pedal like she's never done before. The rental was never rated for that kind of acceleration. Dazzlin grabbed the handlebar for her life. If she wasn't so terrified to look at Amy instead of the road, she'd see what could only be described as a face of someone in utter despair. Someone who has put everything on the line. Someone who's fighting to keep the little wealth she worked so hard for throughout her life. All of Amy's life has come down to this, and it was a race to the airport. Through the alleyways, the highways, the railway, the sex shop. This is where Dazzlin gets off to catch the rental. Amy meanwhile raced through the conveniently open gates and made her way to the chopper. But it was too late. Amy's reckless driving has attracted the attention of one of the birds from the police department, which saw her entering the helicopter. They began communicating with her, ordering her to land the helicopter immediately. Amy knew it was only the matter of time before they called the National Guard to shoot her down. Her heart was beating. She's never been so focused to find a solution to an inevitable situation. Does she keep digging her hole? Does she swallow her losses? Despite Amy's experience, the losses this time were too much to swallow. Amy looked around the cockpit. What did she see? A guitar case that she had placed there a day prior. She took a deep breath. She knew what to do. The air unit of the LSPD has followed Amy to the rooftop of one of the Los Santos high-rises. All of a sudden, the pilot experiences the most traumatizing experience of his life. A loud bang, followed by devices beeping, warning him of several malfunctions. It was a distinct sound of bullets whizzing by him and plowing through his helicopter. Amy had taken a sniper rifle out, laid out on the rooftop, and began firing at the helicopter in a desperate attempt to lose tail in the most violent manner possible. The residents of nearby skyrises were terrified and confused. They didn't know what to think. Shootings would usually come from below them, not above. Eventually, the helicopter was supposed to land on a nearby skyscraper. And that was the shot Amy needed. She took a deep breath and pulled the trigger once again, sending perhaps the deadliest round to ever be fired in the history of San Andreas into the cockpit of the pilot. She's never been happier to see an explosion of blood. It wasn't the fact that she murdered the law enforcement officer. It was the fact that she had, for once in her life, proven to be capable of fighting back against what had always seemed to be an unstoppable force. And once you stop the unstoppable, you become the unstoppable. To be continued. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for the support. Thank you for being with me for 3 years and counting. I appreciate every one of you. Stay awesome.
Better